Rockaways Productions presents The Casey Waters Show, episode 136, Swedenborg and Esoteric Islam by Henry Corbin, Part 2. Hello, I'm your host, Casey Waters, and today I will continue with Swedenborg and Esoteric Islam by Henry Corbin. This is part 2 in a series and should be the last part. The reason I took interest in Swedenborg and Esoteric Islam is this book deals with the mundus imaginalis, which is an imaginary world where the hidden Iman, the hidden teachers await to guide us. Well, this is interesting to me because it is similar to the imaginary territories. The imaginary territories, well, they're an idea I came up with when I was around 7th grade. Imaginary territories of thought. And the imaginary territory you are associated with is determined by your values and your morals. So we have these two imaginary territories. We have the mundus imaginalis of the Islamic world, and then we have my imaginary territories. Well, anyway, so with my imaginary territories, there is a sense of excitement and a sense of mission. This is really prevalent and well known to me. It feels like I'm a privilege. It feels like I'm privileged to be part of the imaginary territory I'm from. The reason I feel privileged, well, is this sense of mission, this sense of excitement, this sense of not being alone, part of a team on a wonderful mission, a grand moral quest of sorts. Anyway, of course, the mission is unknown, and so on and so on. But my morals and value system are not. And so that's what guides me. But anyway, so in theory, with imaginary territories, I would help people on their moral quest without even knowing it. And that's why the mission is unknown. And vice versa, they would help me. Anyway, so there's this sense of excitement. And according to Swedenborg, when we deal with the mundus imaginalis, there's a sense of losing oneself and God perceiving through you. Well, that's very interesting. But once you lose yourself, well, what conditions might exist? Well, this is interesting. When one loses oneself and God is perceiving through you, well, there would be no time or space. You would lose that sense of time and space because any space in any time could be instantly accessed by you. And you wouldn't really think in terms of time and space. Along with this, well, would be the notion of telepathy and partial or restricted telepathy. This is an important concept. What happens is, imagine you had the option of telepathy. So let's decide you opted for restricted telepathy. What I mean by that is people who you want to know your thoughts and your motivations and what you're up to can. But people you would just assume not know, don't know. You are in total control of your restricted telepathy. This is just a theory of mine. Anyway, so the problem is, this would apply to everybody all at once, of course. It would be a whole new state of existence. So with this state of existence, of this telepathy, well, if you were open to more people knowing your innermost thoughts, you would be perceived as being more honest and truthful, and perhaps a better person to work with. And if you did impose a lot of restrictions on who knows what you're up to, well, people might wonder what you're up to and become suspicious of you. So that's what would happen in this restricted telepathy scenario. There would be pressure for full disclosure, for full telepathy, where anybody and everybody and anybody can know what you're thinking and what you've done in the past and what you want to do in the future. Well, that would mean you would have to be really honest. Anyway, so if we advance to that level of telepathy, we would probably rapidly or slowly, but we would certainly discover that we were dealing with a whole new ball game here. We would have to be certainly more honest, and we would probably have other enhanced senses too, and we would probably have new motivations. We would be guided by ethical decisions more than we are now, or all our decisions would have to be more ethical. Well, I guess as we're in unity with God, this would be okay. We wouldn't mind being ethical, and we would actually relish it and enjoy it. And that's why we would permit full disclosure. And we would share with other people's thoughts and gain their knowledge. And they would gain our knowledge, and we would be on this quest. Anyway, a grand moral quest. Kind of like my imaginary territories. But anyway, so we have that. But it goes a little further, for we have to wonder about time and space itself and our state of mind that is not having telepathy. Was all of this, time and space and ourselves, all created by God perhaps as a grand moral experiment? Well, perhaps that is just the case. And the angels and God watch on the sidelines to see how things will proceed. Perhaps imaginary territories interact with us and we interact with them, providing perhaps a little bit of uncertainty as to the details of it all. Certainly God would know the ultimate outcome, but perhaps the devil is in the details, and the details may change. And perhaps that's what this grand experiment is all about, sorting out the minute details of morality and value systems as we play them out for God. All very interesting indeed. And I guess to keep our motives concealed, we don't have telepathy. So, if we were to accept the offer of telepathy, well, would we be ready for it? Would we be ready to share our innermost thoughts with everyone and have access to theirs? Well, if this were the case, we would have to have an advanced morality, or we would rapidly advance in our morality, chances are, because everyone else would point out our errors otherwise. Anyway, also we would have more advanced abilities in this state. So now let's go to Swedenborg and Esoteric Islam by Henry Corbin. Let's go to page 124. What then